Hey there folks, this is Josh, Stoney Ridge Farmer. Welcome back to another awesome, beautiful Sawmill Sundays here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. We have been fighting bad weather. It's been raining like crazy, it's been windy, it's been nasty, and it's been 90 degrees outside, so good gracious. I haven't fired the sawmill up in a couple weeks, and today's Sawmill Sunday is gonna be extra special because we're milling with a purpose. We're gonna take the TYM T574 tractor over to the other side of the farm where a nice, big, pretty eastern red cedar fell down. I've already got the wood cut, the tree is cut, and we're gonna load them up on the pallet forks, put it on the sawmill today, and we're gonna see some of the most beautiful eastern red cedar trim that you've ever seen. So we're milling with a purpose today. We're making trim for the new farm office in the mega shop. Awesome. All right guys, welcome to Sawmill Sundays here on the Stoney Ridge Farm. If this is your first time or your 50 billionth time here, please pound that like button, jump in, subscribe to the channel. We've got lots of lumber that needs to be milled up here on the farm, but other things have taken priority here lately on the farm, like building the water systems, putting up the mega shop, and all sorts of other fun stuff. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna fire up the TYM 574 tractor. This is Lucy. Lucy's an awesome tractor for the farm, and we're gonna be using the pallet forks to load up this log. There are two logs that are laying over here in the bushes where a cedar tree fell down about 2 years ago. The wind caught it, blew it over, and eastern red cedar keeps really, really nice. In other words, even though it's been laying on the forest floor for 2 years, when we mill this, it's gonna blow your mind how beautiful. And what we're milling again is trim pieces and trim boards for the new shop building that's up there, the mega shop. Now, if you guys haven't been here to the channel before, this is a wood-mizer sawmill, the wood-mizer LT40 extra wide. Got all kinds of cool features on it, hydraulic log lifters. This is the control setup for all the hydraulics. That turns the logs, that lifts the logs, that levels the logs, and does everything we need to do. And right here is our control panel, which tells me I have 41 hours on here, so we're gonna be doing an oil change on this critter pretty soon. It's got a 38 horsepower Kohler Command Pro fuel injected engine on it, man, and it's super cool. You'll see this at work here in just a second. This is the wood-mizer system. In other words, this is lubricant. It's just soapy water, and it lubricates the saw blade as it goes through the wood. And we're only cutting some really small stuff. Eastern red cedar is a soft wood, so this wood is going to cut like butter. This sawmill is going to really, really move. The sawmill itself rides on this rail right here, and that's basically it. So we'll just start cutting. We'll load it up on the log deck right here. That should be pretty fun, and you guys are going to get to see some awesome, beautiful lumber. This lumber is just about dry, so all it'll do is sit in the barn for a few weeks, and we'll be using it for trim pieces. We'll be milling 1 1/4 inch trim pieces today. So awesome. We'll get the maximum amount of lumber we can because nothing goes to waste here on the Stoney Ridge. Nothing like a cab to make you feel at home. All right, we turn the key on. We wait until our glow plugs cycle real quick. And this cab's kind of echoey, guys. I apologize. Glow plugs have cycled. It's a little light right there. It turned off. Oh yeah. Handle right here, we lift our loader arms. Pretty much it. Shut the door. Nice solid cab, and we'll get to rocking. We're gonna have it in medium right here, and this is a hydrostatic tractor, so all we do is press the backwards pedal to back up and the forwards pedal to go forward. Pretty simple. This is the brake. Emergency brake locks right there. So we'll put our foot on the pedal, then we gotta raise up our rear implement. That's a scrape blade. Away we go. Guys, if you think about it, pound that like button, jump in, subscribe to the channel. Love to have you back here on the Stoney Ridge. This is what I call a pucker. Getting ready to get the pucker factor. This is probably close to 800 pounds of lumber on the front of the tractor here. And we got to go up and over this stump. I also have a scrape blade in the back. You can see it in the mirror. It's about to hit that log. Yeah, barely touched it. You do not want to travel on a tractor with your load way up high. You risk flipping the tractor over. You raise the center of gravity. Folks, it's the next day. We got pounded by rain last night. Man, what a disaster. As soon as I got the logs on the log deck, it started raining, so we weren't unable to finish this job last night. We're gonna finish it up today. There are a few things that I have to do to prepare these logs. While I've got them up here on the log deck, we're gonna be doing that. So I've got my little steel MSA 140C. This is the electric steel chainsaw. It's probably the just below the pro saw type saw. In other words, the pro electric saw. It's a homeowner grade saw. MS140C from Steel. Definitely like that. Next tool we're going to be using, and we use this every time we fire up the mill. This is called the Log Ox. This is the Log Ox 3-in-1 forestry. Is it 3-in-1? It's a forestry multi-tool. I believe it's a 3-in-1 forestry multi-tool. What we're going to be using is the cant hook portion of the saw haul, and they've just done some improvements on the saw haul to the pins that hold things in place, and actually has a longer handle on it. So pretty awesome. There'll be a link down the video description in case you guys want to get yourself a saw haul. Those guys are good friends of mine. They live up in Vermont. It's an American company, veteran owned, awesome stuff. So what we're going to do first is we're going to go through here and we're gonna knock off some of these knobs because they will get in the way of the mill as the mill slides back and forth this way. Now we can't have two logs on the log deck at the same time, so we're gonna have to go ahead and remove this log from the log deck. All I gotta do is just take my cant hook, just like that. And again, this isn't very heavy. It's really lightweight, easy to turn, but a whole lot easier with the Log Ox here. Get this guy in, turn him over. We'll knock these little knobs off too. Every time we do a Sawmill Sunday, we're gonna have a little bit of an educational moment here, guys. So this is the debarker. The debarker is covered up with a rubberized cover right here, like a canvas rubberized cover. And this debarker has a carbide tipped blade on it. And that carbide tip blade, you'll see it going down. You'll see a little light up here flickering if you watch the video real close. That is eating the bark off of this tree as it goes through. Now we'll use a debarker in some cases and we won't use a debarker in other cases. Most of this hardwood lumber right here will definitely use a debarker, and if it's really muddy or nasty, we'll be using the debarker because that saves your sawmill blade. And depending on the hardness of the wood, that's how long your sawmill blade will last. There are different types of blades for different types of wood. We have the blade for really hardwood on here right now, so it's not going to cut quite as fast, but we're going to get a better, smoother cut, which is going to be awesome. This will come right off of the mill and be used for trim right in the mega shop. This is fuel injected, so all we do is turn the key on, wait till we hear the fuel pump cut off, and start her up, let her warm up to optimal running temperature. Before we start it, I want to let you guys know this is called the wood-mizer simple set. Okay, this is a little computer in here that will set, and I'll show you exactly what we do here. Hit this button, and we're going to be cutting to 1 1/16. That's what we're cutting right here, 1 1/16. So it's going to be set to that once we start cutting. But for now, we'll hit that button and we'll be straight manual because we're going to take off the slabs, which is the part of the tree that has the bark on it. Contact. You'll see me running controls here. I'm going to explain some of the controls to you so you understand how the sawmill works. Again, the wood-mizer, the lubricant, will be spitting out on the blade as it goes through the log to help lubricate the log and lubricate the blade as it goes through the log. Also, we have the controls for the wood-mizer right here. We can set it on continuous flow or pulse. This is the drive mechanism, so forward and backwards. I click that, forward, click that, go backwards. Turning our blade on, this turns on our debarker. This is the speed at which the mill goes that way. It's all driven hydraulically. And then there's a little lever right here that moves the blade, the face of the blade, because if you're cutting a log this big, you don't need your blade to be stretched out this big. So we move it in a little closer and you'll see that in the detail here as we get busy cutting. Also, there are controls down here for the log turner and the log deck. Everything on the log deck is hydraulically controlled. We'll take our slabs, we'll throw those in the back of Mater or Tater. That's Tater the dump truck. And then we'll use Lucy over here. We'll put all of our boards on our pallet forks. One thing about putting boards on pallet forks, if those forks are wet, you will stain the board. So we've got to be conscious of that. What we'll do is take some of the slab material here and we'll put it up there so we can stack our boards on top of something that doesn't matter. We've got to think about all this stuff as we do this. And learning how to use this sawmill is about like learning how to fly the space shuttle. It's fairly complex, but once you get the hang of it, hopefully you won't screw up. Let's get busy. Oh my goodness. This is so gorgeous. Let me get you guys a close-up. That old crusty log laying on the forest floor for several years. You guys just aren't gonna believe how gorgeous this is. And again, this is gonna be for trim pieces. This is gonna darken a little bit, but let's get you a close-up. So this is what Eastern red cedar looks like. Oh my goodness. Look at how gorgeous. We're gonna get down here where the knotty parts are. Man, it's, I hate to even think about how gorgeous this is gonna look when it gets wet. Oh man, here goes. Look at that. Man, it's just something super special to have a sawmill and to be able to do this. Let's look at this little knotty area right here where all these limbs are coming out. Man, look at that. It's unbelievable how gorgeous that is. That's the first cant, and a cant is a squared off log just like this. What we're gonna be milling is, again, 1x trim pieces, and we're gonna mill them up as wide as we possibly can. So basically we're just gonna take this, we're gonna slice one more little piece off of here, and then we're just gonna get to cutting. This is called sapwood, and this is called heartwood. The heartwood is more desirable than the sapwood, okay? So we'll find the ugliest side here, and that's what we'll use to set our lumber on. We may actually just pull off a piece of old scrap right here and use that up on the pallet forks. Man, that's gorgeous. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Wow. The water really sets it off, doesn't it? What do you guys think? Let me know. there's nothing I can say here other than it's just amazing what Mother Nature's bounty brings us sometimes. This log, like I said, it blew over. It was a tree that blew over at least 2 years ago. It's been laying on the forest floor here, and it just turned out absolutely gorgeous. Look at the amount of lumber we got. We've got enough lumber here to trim out most of the windows in the mega shop. I just poured a little water on here so we can take a look. It'll dry out, don't worry. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna store this in the shipping container up here that I have right beside the mega shop that's going up. So, guys, this is just unbelievable. Let's get a good close up. This is the first log, and then I've got a piece of lumber from the second log. These are 1 by 10s, and I'll rip them down to the size that I need with the table saw, and the other one's made 1 by 6s. Like I said, Mother Nature's bounty. Oh my goodness, how gorgeous. Unbelievably gorgeous. Now we did have some ants in here. Those ants will go away. We'll shake them out. Wood needs to be wet for ants to eat it, so once it dries, it'll be just fine. Let's flip this guy up, and this is what I consider to be the prettiest piece of lumber out of the second log right here. Look at that character. My goodness, guys. Something truly special. If you're considering getting yourself a sawmill, check out Wood-mizer. They're not a sponsor of the channel, but they make a good piece of machinery, a great piece of equipment. Tune in to next week's Sawmill Sunday as we work through either wild cherry, live edge wild cherry, or some of this white oak. We've got a mill with a purpose again next week too. We're making countertops and tabletops and stuff like that. All this stuff for the new farm office and mega shop here on the Stoney Ridge, and the tool corner, so we can do Tool Tuesdays, guys. Thanks a lot for joining me here on the Stoney Ridge. What an awesome bounty. We've got a huge stack of lumber from a piece of garbage that was laying in the woods, from the forest floor to the lumber right up to the construction project, man. It just doesn't get any better than that. Thanks so much, guys. Please let me know what you'd like to see on Sawmill Sunday. Post a comment down there, and I'd love to have you back. Please subscribe to the channel. Thanks. See you next time on the Stoney Ridge. Woo! Look at that. Man, that's gorgeous. Look at all this lumber. It was free. Woo! Come on down.